Ulsters are stupid. What are you talking about?
Northern Line's not stupid.
He says some pretty insane stuff.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
he says brave things, not stupid things.
Oh, sure. Brave is often confused as stupid.
All right, everybody, welcome to our July edition of the Rats Game Club. And before we start, I just want to say one simple phrase. Hello.
What?
This game was
He's
Matt's
speaking in
pick.
tongues.
We played OneShot. Why'd you pick OneShot, Matt? And what'd you think of as we played it?
I picked it because nobody played OneShot. And
I played it a little bit.
I had literally never heard of it.
That's crazy.
the game that came out before Undertale.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, the
Well,
original.
maybe not technically, but
The original version did. It just didn't release on Steam until after Undertale. Because I believe the first edition came out in 2014.
Yeah, just simple RPG Maker game.
Yeah, was that like on Itch.io or where was that released? If you remember.
I have no recollection. It's been so long.
Just as a note, if anyone's watching,
I feel like I grabbed it off of
this
Tumblr.
is technically the second playthrough of the game, so there might be spoilers, but I might just end up playing a normal, regular playthrough while being the gameplay man for this.
And then the initial Steam version came out in 2016, I believe, and eventually got updated with the second playthrough that we will discuss. And then they did a full console version called the World Machine Edition that they ported to everything, including back to Steam. The one you're playing right now, Tony, is the original edition, not World Machine, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And now J.J. Abrams is working on the live-action adaptation.
Ah, crap.
So Matt, where did you first learn about OneShot?
I followed the artist Night Margin on Tumblr before she and maybe three other people made this game.
I see. And
so it was weird to see somebody like slowly make a game.
Oh, so you were like following it from the beginning of development, essentially.
I don't recall exactly when I followed Night Margin. It was probably between 2011 and 2013.
Gotcha.
And I don't know, just I liked their art at the time. And eventually they just started putting out concept art for the game. At least as far as I can remember. But I don't remember my initial reason why I followed them.
Okay.
But yeah, I was very lenient towards the game because, it's just watching one person, or not one person, but group. The very definition of indie.
Yeah.
So, literally just unfold in front of me.
Yeah, even the most recent versions, the credits are like 5 minutes long, and half of it is just, here's the one person for each language that translated the entire game. So it is still a very small team. So I think this is probably the most obscure game that we've played for Game Club so far, since we've normally only played like the bigger games. So why don't you tell us,
Astro Boy.
Astro Boy, I think it's a big franchise, but I think more people on average might know about the Astro Boy GBA game than OneShot.
What?
I would harshly disagree with that.
Bet $1 million.
As someone who has been to conventions and has seen Nico plushes for years, I would actually pretty heavily disagree.
Yeah, I think OneShot is more famous than some
maybe at this point. Yeah. But Matt, why don't you tell us about what OneShot is?
An existential crisis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about Nico, and he's been isekai'd away into a weird and strange world that is crumbling apart, and you were labeled the Messiah, as if you're gonna save the world. Um, I mean that's just like the first like 10 minutes of the game.
Right.
So
You carry around the sun in your hands, and the sun is just a light
mhm.
bulb in a very dark world. And really, the rest of the game is just discovering like what the world is and what you are actually doing. But one of my favorite things I think about this game is that it's one of the only like, would you describe it as like second person? Because you you are playing as you, and you are guiding Nico through the world because you are supposedly, like, you as in the player are God, and Nico is following you, and he
Yeah, I
talks
don't
directly
know.
to you.
I don't know what game we're talking about. Nico came on my computer and I had to help him.
That's true. It's not a game. It's a weird program that everyone received that was just a cat. Um, but he's not a cat. He is a person.
Mhm.
So Matt, I wanted to ask you, since you have played this before and this was your first playthrough since, like, this is only your second playthrough, right?
Yeah.
What were the opinions you had back then, and how did they change or not change versus this playthrough now?
I'm surprised at how much I remember in terms of just the vibe and feeling of everything. Like all the little details and dialogue, I just kind of remembered bits and pieces. But I guess I was most surprised that, um, like how much it stuck with me over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the world that they created. It's just it's not gigantic by any means, but it just feels so lived in a sort of way that kind of like sticks with you. Whether or not like there's a lot of depth to the characters or anything, I personally remembered quite a bit. So
Yeah, I think it's personally pretty unique to have a world that is like as decaying, dead, decrepit, whatever word you want to use
Mm-hmm.
for this. Because usually I think, even when you have worlds that are like in the process of dying, it's not quite as like oppressive and clear that the end is almost here as it is in OneShot, where it's just like, brother, I could blink my eyes and the world could vanish. Genuinely, it
Mm-hmm.
could end at literally any point in time.
Yeah, the aside from lived in, the thing that kept going through my mind wasn't just that, but worn out. Like there
mhm.
is nothing left of this world, and it is like a couple of like sand particles away from just crumbling to pieces, and it really does a good job of like showcasing the melancholy of that. Not even
That
the
and
scariness
Yeah.
of it, but just like there's nothing you can do. You're watching it fall
the
apart.
the people in it are not like trying to survive desperately or anything. They're just tired
Yeah.
mostly.
hmm
Um,
One of my first, especially like after I finished the game, I would listen to the music quite a bit, and just like Undertale and many other of my favorite video games, I feel like music is very just most impactful in terms of keeping a game with you. I don't know if it's just because I'm a music person in general, but it just carries so much emotion and so much weight around stuff like Undertale in this, and it makes it memorable. And the first track is "My Burden Is Light," and I love the wordplay of that so much
mhm.
because since Nico's holding a light bulb that's supposed to be the sun of the world, it just it makes sense. It clicks. It's really ingenious in a way.
I think the rest of us more had very little experience with it. So we can just kind of go around and ask Tony, what was your experience with One Shot before and during playing it, and what did you
Yeah,
think
my
overall?
experience with OneShot before was like several years ago. I think back in like 2017, I played it for like 3 minutes and couldn't get out of the first room. Um, so it was nice to come back and actually be able to finish it this time around. Uh,
I just
but
uh,
I really enjoyed it overall. I think, we had, I don't know if we had mentioned it on recording, but, I think it definitely got not only overshadowed by Undertale, like technically the year before and the year after it, but we're just going to talk, or I'm just going to consider the 2016 release. I feel like not only it got overshadowed by Undertale, but it also got overshadowed by Doki Doki Literature Club big time.
Hmm.
And I think in terms of like the fourth wall breaking stuff that anchors you, the actual person, to the events inside the game, I think it's probably like the most interesting of the three in that case. And I'm a big Doki Doki Literature Club defender. I really enjoy what that does, but this game messed with like file structures and it got my name somehow, which I know Doki Doki does as well, but also like messing up my background and then like the notebook thing and the finale in the tower, I felt were all like really unique, really interesting things that I hadn't really seen before when it came to third world or third wall breaking things, fourth wall, whatever, breaking things like this.
I do just want to point something out. It gets it.
Yeah,
It just gets it from your computer Windows name.
got it.
Um,
Yeah.
and I know this because it it did not get my name right exactly, and I was able to like. There's a point where in the first run where Nico, I think when he's first talking to you,
No,
asks if
it's
that's
when
your
you're
name or
out.
something.
It's when you're in the first act of the game and you talk to Prophet Bot, and
Yeah,
then that gives you the chance to confirm. And you can
Yes,
just gaslight Nico.
yeah,
It's kind of fun.
either Prophetbot or Nico, like prompted by Prophetbot, asks you like, "Is this your
Hmm.
name?"
Hmm.
And um, and when you say no, then you just uh, it lets you put in whatever name you want,
and I
which I
think
thought was really neat.
I believe there are Easter eggs regarding that, where if you put in Nico, he'll
Yeah,
be like, "Whoa, that's my name. That's cool." Or like if you put in something like a bad word, he'll be like, "I don't think I can say that word. Can you change your name?"
I just
Uh,
also thought that it
if
like
you type
sucked it
in
in even more because it's like, yeah, it's just getting it from your Windows
right.
user. Like they don't have access to the impossible.
and
They're
the
just getting it from somewhere.
if you type in Nico but you spell it with a C, he'll be like, "Whoa, I mean that's pretty close. Like mine's with a K, but it's pronounced the same, so that's neat." And
Yeah.
also, if you type in your same name after telling him no, that's not my name, he'll be like, "But isn't that what I just said?" Well, you're God,
Oh
okay.
no.
And then he'll just be like, "Okay, anyways."
um. Yeah, that's all really cool how it messes with that. That's like the highlight for me when I get into how I feel about it. That's going to be the thing that I talk about the most probably because I've really not seen a game do anything like that. But did you have anything else you wanted to say, Tony?
No, not really. I thought it was like really cool. Like I think, especially like with how short it is, I don't think it can really be or really attempt it to be like the most complex thing. So I mostly
Yeah.
just enjoyed it as like a spectacle type thing of like going and being like, "Oh wow, that's cool. That's a really unique way to like weird me out and make me uncomfortable or have a really interesting unique gameplay interaction as like a fourth wall breaking piece of existence. Um,
I
All
but
definitely
right.
got
I
way
thought it was
more absorbed
interesting.
into it, but I'll
Uh,
get into that, I guess.
why don't you get into it now? What did you think, Danny? And what was
So I had never
your
heard of this.
yeah? What was your
I had somehow
previous
avoided this
experience?
entirely. Maybe I had seen Nico's design in passing somewhere on the internet and not known it, but I don't even know that for sure. Um, I wasn't expecting the level of fourth wall breaking that it would get into, but I was in love with what it was doing immediately when you talk to Prophet Bot and it starts like interacting with you, the person. Um, and it did a really good job of getting me emotionally invested times like 10.
Mhm.
Uh, I Nico's already an extremely endearing character on like just everything, regardless of anything else. But the framework that the game uses to like place you, the person playing the game, into it, I was like, okay, no, I I need Nico needs my help. I need to get Nico out of here.
Mhm.
Um, and it was all of that stuff was really, really, really cool. And I have not seen anything do. I haven't seen anything use that type of fourth wall breaking meta narrative type stuff to such an effective, like so effectively for the purpose of getting you emotionally sucked into it specifically. I have not seen anything do that quite as well as this did. I'm sure there's stuff out there, but it was really cool, and I got really invested in it.
Alrighty. Luke, where did you hear about One Shot, and what did you think playing through it?
Like people have talking about the game since since it released. It's not like a huge um, like the community is not very loud, but it's every single time you finish like a neater indie game, especially puzzle game, or ones that are like kind of meta. Um, every single discussion forum space will say like, oh, you should play these other games, and One Shot is in like the top like 5 recommended ones for like after you beat an indie game. This is always one of the go-to recommended ones. Um, and I'd always
Mhm.
been meaning to play it, just never got around to it. Um, but yeah, I mean, like it's like with all things, you got to keep in mind the time in which it released, because playing it in the modern day, if you've had like indie game experience, then like it's like it's fun. It's very well
It's
made.
charming.
It's very charming. Yeah. Um, the meta parts of it are still its strong suit, obviously, particularly in the puzzle design. Um, yeah, how it's working for both the puzzle design and the narrative. Um, but
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think that like in this day and age that it matches up to the meta things of something like Inscription. You know,
yeah,
just like probably like my gold standard for like engaging game
well,
and like meta stuff because Doki
this
Doki
is
I think
doing
has
something
really
different.
engaging meta stuff, but is
This
obviously
is
just a visual novel.
I wouldn't really necessarily still put it with Inscription about like the meta thing. Like this is going for like actual like computer terminal, like Windows thing. Like that's why I'd be quicker to compare to Doki Doki Literature Club. But this is doing it for like a more gameplay in depth reason, which is what made this interesting. I personally didn't really find, but my um biggest thing with the game is that I just didn't feel invested really um, with the world and well, I feel like the world building was done pretty well and everything. Like the vibe was very good. It just like I feel like I didn't get much of a chance to get invested in the characters specifically because of how abbreviated it is. Because like it's an indie game and it's kind of has to keep moving. So, and I could tell that every single one of the NPCs does have a very clear personality. I just didn't get to spend too much time with them, so it didn't really invest me emotionally. Um,
Mhm.
but it's an indie game. I'm curious how many more characters or like what exactly the changes were from the original release. Um,
I looked up and there was at least a lot of map changes, and I think map
yeah,
expansions
I would
overall compared
assume,
between the two.
and I feel like I maybe would have even preferred the original game to a little degree because what I saw of the original game, it seems like it's like the vibe is darker and it's got that that freeware grungy
Mhm.
more scary thing going on. Like I looked up the thing where like if you exit the game without saving, then like the dialogue box appears and says, "Are you sure you want to leave? This will kill Nico." And then you exit, and then when you go back in, the title screen has Nico no longer there. His hat and scarf is on the floor. The light bulb is out. Then when you hit start game, it just shows the bed at the start with the lights off, and then a dialogue box appears when you press the button that says, "You killed Nico. He's dead. You killed him," and then it closes the game. Which, if I had played that in high school, I would have cried. Like that would have freaked me out.
Yeah.
So, like the vibe is a little bit different in this. Like it's still like a little spooky, but yeah, just basically my overall takeaway was very cool, especially for the time. I just happened to not be emotionally invested, but just very like head to toe, very well made game, very cool. We can get into the like true ending thing later because that's a whole separate discussion,
Hmm.
and then that changes some of my thoughts.
And I suppose for me, I didn't know about this game at all until Matt told me about it and got it for me way back when I think it was around 2020. Uh, and I started it, and I got far enough to like get out of the first room and have the game talk directly to me and have the pop up that tells you you only have one shot. And I was like, okay, I got to play this. And then it just slipped by, and I like didn't forget about it per se, but I just never ended up getting around to it. Uh, until now, and I'm very happy that we were able to get around to it because I really enjoyed it. Um, I thought from minute one, I thought Nico was really endearing. They do a good job of making him like innocent, but not like annoyingly so. Like he's not just ooh so cute. Look at this cute kitty.
Yeah, I don't think I would have been able to handle that,
Yeah,
TBH.
he feels like an actual like little lost kid who just wants to go home, and the little interactions that he has with you, I found genuinely to be really endearing and cute. I think his design is fantastic. He's a very striking, immediately iconic design for
It,
something like kind of simple, where it's just a hat and
Mhm.
scarf and coat.
his portrait when his eyes are wide is the best thing I've
It
ever seen.
is. All the
He's
portraits
my
are so
son.
cute. And they do a really good job with Nico just as a character. Um, so that was immediately endearing. I liked how melancholy the world was. It felt like it reminded me a lot of the drearier parts of Tunic, where it's this top-down world that's kind of falling apart, and it's all really dark. But there are people just around, and you're just trying to figure out what's going on. In this case, you're trying to get to the tower so that you can set the light bulb and bring the sun back. Even though, like, throughout the game, there's no real question about it. Like, every single NPC that knows what's going on does tell you this won't solve anything. The world is going to end no matter what you do, which I thought was really cool in that it's
Yeah,
like
that's my favorite part of the story.
it really
Um,
kind of gives you an idea early on just how meaningless this whole thing really is. So then it makes you like, okay, well, I like Nico, and if the world's going to end, I just want to get him back home, and that's a good setup for like what happens in the rest of the story. Um,
It also makes the one shot like final choice thing more interesting than it would have otherwise been, because
Yeah,
it's not like a typical like Bay versus Bay thing. It's like a real like a real choice.
right. Uh,
Yeah. Um, I feel like that's like at the time. I don't know how many games I've played that felt like meaningful, impactful choices. But it really felt like this game had a very I like I like how like conflicting it is. That's one of the number one things that stuck with
mhm.
me. It's like what really was the correct decision. I feel like I did the same thing I did this playthrough where I thought the game was like trying to trick me in a way. I'm like, is he actually gonna be able to go home? Or is he like are we actually gonna be able to save the world? And then if we save the world, he gets to go home anyway. So I
Right.
think I did put the sun in both versions in fear that the game was trying to like
Pull a fast one on
tell
you.
me pull a fast one on me because all I remember was that I don't recall seeing Nico leave.
Hmm.
I just remembered that like the ending being the him or his room or the old room that you start in,
Yeah.
and I thought it was like kind of like ambiguous whether or not he got to leave or not. And the
It's
world's saved.
ambiguous what happened to
Yeah,
him. I think it's pretty clear he did not get to leave,
yeah, yeah.
but it's ambiguous whether he got to live on
But
or if he's in like in a weird state or what happened to him at all.
yeah,
And the only other thing I wanted to mention was going back to the meta puzzles. The way it specifically messed with your computer, I loved. I'm a huge sucker for like well
mhm.
done meta narrative stuff in general. And when it goes as far as to actually mess with the hardware, I always get really excited. And I don't think I've ever played a game that goes as far as this one, where not only do you have to like check documents and stuff, and it adds new documents and the README, and it adds like new photos that you have to look at. The thing that like actually wowed me and was like, okay, how did they do that? Was when it changed my desktop wallpaper, and I was like,
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing that anything could ever do,
I didn't either.
because after years of like
Yeah.
games and stuff where it's like, oh, here, download this wallpaper and then change it yourself, like you're telling me this entire time applications could have been doing that for me.
I was like, that was kind of the moment where I
It's funny because that
remember
part actually didn't surprise me too much. Well, it surprised me. It did, but it's like it didn't surprise me that it was possible.
I didn't know it was possible. I'd never seen
I've
anything
never
do
seen
that.
anything do that. I don't know
Uh,
why nothing else has ever done that.
Yeah, nothing does it,
and
but
I,
I wasn't surprised that it was possible. I was surprised that it happened.
I think that was a moment where I texted Matt with the screenshot of my desktop and was just like, all right, this game's pretty awesome.
Um,
uh, and I honestly like there's enough of it for this game. I don't think it necessarily needed more for itself, but just the concept of snooping around my own computer to find things that the game hid, I really love that concept to the point where I could have done it for 20 more hours, and I would like a game that's just that, because that would be super fun.
yeah.
I really loved the idea of just going around different folders and stuff that the game has put around my computer and piecing it together. Because the end game puzzle with the where you have to boot a different exe and then boot the game to get Nico out of his like forever sleep, and then you have to use uh, the like clover in the bottom with that exe as it's telling you the notes. Like the way that it played with programs and windows and applications is all so cool, and that's the part that's really going to stick with me.
Yeah, I didn't really talk about the puzzles much, but yeah, I mean, I do wish there were more of a focus on those puzzles, because like in the second half of the game they got pretty cool, but I just wanted more of that, because I like that more than the story and even like the atmosphere they're creating. I was really in it for the puzzles at that point. Um, did you guys play it in windowed mode? So when it changed the desktop wallpaper, because the game recommended it, like I
Yeah.
immediately saw that my desktop wallpaper changed, and then that was the end of that puzzle. But
Well, so
did you
my
guys?
my desktop
What did you
wallpaper
do?
like cycles through stuff, so my background was just like the Steam library page for it,
Hmm.
because like that's just like what I found like the best, most neutral background to be was just like a
Yeah, well,
black background with like
it's
a little
rare that it
stuff.
happens, but when I do have to play a game windowed like that, I always just put it in front of either Discord or more often Steam library.
I usually, well, for this game, I turned my taskbar off and put it on my second monitor, and then put this game on my first monitor, and then made the background like a black solid color, and then moved all of my desktop icons to the other monitor in like a folder, so that way it could be like perfectly immersed. Um, but then that it gave me a lot of unfortunate issues where every time I had to like alt tab out, I had to like turn on a second monitor or like the fish in the dark for stuff and then like tab it over to the other monitor. It's just kind of a bit of an unfortunate thing of like the game couldn't have really done it any other way if it's doing the stuff that it is. So, but like um my point was like, were you guys like in that puzzle, did you have to fish around to figure out like what happened, or like did you immediately see that the wallpaper changed?
Well, the note tells
I
you
mean,
it's in
there's
the
the
most
like,
obvious
yeah,
spot, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, is that?" And I was like looking at my desktop icons for a second because I thought it made
Yeah.
like it was gonna make a new like shortcut or something, and then I saw
Yep.
like
yeah.
when I for a half a second I was like looking at the side, looking at the icons, and I was like, "Wait, my wallpaper is different," and then I saw what it was, and I
Okay,
was like,
so
"Okay."
there was
I
another
had a more
window hiding
embarrassing moment where I went to the
the
desktop
question.
searching for it, looking for icons, and didn't see that it had changed my background at all because I was an idiot and did not see
Okay.
that
For
at
me,
all.
I didn't have that moment because I like when the game told me to play it in windowed, I was like, okay, I'm gonna clear everything. So it immediately flashed pink, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, there's the answer.
I played it in windowed, but I
Um,
did like Danny, where if I have something in windowed, I usually have it over, usually Discord or Steam, like something that is a darker window, but I don't normally have
yeah,
it over my desktop because I have my wallpapers are a slideshow, and some of those are just like essentially white pictures, and those can be very bright and annoying when I'm trying to play something in the
Right.
dark.
oh well, yeah. I mean, me too. That's why I like because Windows has a pretty easy default thing where you can just temporarily change it to a solid color. So I do that if I have to do a windowed thing, but because I it would I get very like particular about being taken out of the experience otherwise if I just overlay it on like a Discord thing. But yeah, what was everyone's favorite meta puzzle or meta
And
aspect?
it had to be the end with the like the notebook overlapping the clover.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was pretty
that was
That was
cool.
easily the
cool.
best part.
Yeah.
My my favorite, not puzzle aspect, but my favorite part where like it made me be like, how how the hell is what the hell? How do you do that? Was at the very end when he walks out of the game, and
Yeah,
Oh, that
I
too.
still don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
man. I don't know.
I
And
still don't know how it did that. That was nuts. Like
it's
I
crazy,
saw my
man.
mouse cursor like do the Windows loading thing, so I guess it was like loading a program to make it do that. I was like, you did something wrong to my computer. You can't be doing this. The thing that kind of surprised me the most, beside the desktop wallpaper one, was the one where you have to place, or the three characters are placed on the pedestals, and then you have to place all of them into the big
I
portal.
really like that.
And the way you do
Um,
that is by going into the folder and manually putting each folder in. And I made sure to do it in two separate windows so I could see them at the same time.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it did
Me
it
too.
in real time. And I was like, wow, that's so cool.
Wait, was that on the second playthrough
Yeah, it
or
is.
what?
It's at the end of the
Yeah.
second playthrough.
Like I would, it's like not surprising to me, or it wasn't surprising when I saw it happen in real time because it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like what like 1 kilobyte of data reading in
Sure,
the next
yeah.
computer. What's the thing that I really liked about that is how they managed to make that very diegetically a puzzle without beating you over the head with it.
Right.
I felt like throughout the game, like the dialogue, the writing was losing me when it was getting like very like in your face about. It might be more in the second playthrough for the record, Anthony. It's getting very in your face about like what an NPC is and like that kind of dialogue that like over the years is like increasingly like a little bit like trite, but it was not like a consistent thing.
Well,
But
also
in
when
that
it came
moment,
out, like that was a little rarer when it actually did come out.
yeah. So like it's that's why I say like it's over the years it gets more like noticeable, but um the but I really liked that moment because I don't know if any of you guys looked in the file folders before you did it, but I really like that they put three things, and one was a note saying "put me in the folder,"
Mm-hmm.
uh, just a text document, and then one was their their headshot, and then one was their character sprite sheet, which I thought was
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah.
So
I
it's like,
looked
oh
at it.
yeah, it is them. It's like
It's
all the data they need.
yeah, just straight up the character folder. Uh,
Yeah, that's
that
cool.
was all really cool. Um, and I guess we can go ahead and start doing the story just from the beginning to end. Because it's not a long game at all. There's only 4 major areas until you get to the tower, and then you have the final choice.
I mean,
Where
the tower is the fourth major area. Well, no, because no, there's like the upper tower and then the city.
Yeah.
yeah.
Never mind. Yeah.
Um, and so, are there any thoughts as we go through like each one? We start in the Barrens. Were there any like standout moments there for anybody?
The Barons just kind of annoyed me because I kept like missing things because it was like
Yeah.
too
It's
big and the camera's too
very
zoomed
frustrating.
in. So like there were multiple points throughout the whole game, but particularly the Barons where like I had to look
Yeah, the
stuff up
Baron's
because
rough.
Yeah.
It's so big.
Yeah, I think with all the stuff I liked about the game, I think the world design was definitely something that I did not click with because, like, I
yeah,
think
it
it's
got lost.
a little bit typical of like the RPG Maker games, but that
It
style of
is.
like larger, like kind of just pixel hunting stuff really isn't my favorite style of game design.
Yeah, it's my most frustrating thing. Part of RPG Maker,
Mm-hmm. Uh,
just
And
constantly missing tiny
especially
little
since like
details.
I didn't know that like Nico could only die in like the original version of this because I quit out like when I first played it, and then when I came back in, like Nico was very clearly like spooked and was feeling bad. So it's like, okay, if I do this again, something bad is going to happen. It's going to affect my ending. So then the next time I slept in a bed, and then I was playing, and I was playing. It's like, all right, I'd like to stop. I go to the bed in the Barrens, and Nico's like, I don't want to sleep right now. And so I'm like, okay, Nico, that's not very nice. So I had to go and sleep in the bed in the second area, which you only have access to once you've done like half of the quest line
yeah.
in the second area. So like the world design, I think was a frustration for me
It's
overall,
also
just
weird.
because it was very unpleasantly thorny, and I stayed up like 50 minutes to an hour later than I wanted to because it wouldn't just let me sleep in a bed that I had found already.
I didn't know
It's
that could
also
happen.
weird. In the second playthrough, you can sleep in the beds consistently, like repeatedly, and he never says he doesn't want to sleep. But there's no special cutscenes when you sleep, so I'm not sure why they made that change specifically in the second playthrough.
Yeah,
Uh,
world design was fine. Nothing anything
yeah.
nothing like super remarkable. I really like the aesthetics of like the first and
Mhm.
second areas, but I mean you're still just kind of just walking around at the
Right.
end of all of it.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing for the record. I definitely don't think the world design is like easy to navigate. Um, I don't know. I didn't have much trouble finding things or anything like that. The Barrens was like the easiest part for me. I wound up like kind of stumbling upon everything in the
Hmm.
Barrens that I needed to.
It wasn't too bad for me since I had been through it and remembered it quite well. I just forgot about the damn bottle and the gas.
That one was like that one was a little obtuse. It took me a little bit
That
to.
that should have been made more apparent.
I thought that
Yeah,
was gonna be a meta puzzle where like you had to shake the window to like shake it up.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so too.
And also,
Ah,
it's just like, be careful or you'll explode. So it's like, well, it's only told me that I only have one shot, so I think I'm
Yeah,
about to
yeah,
kill Nico
same.
right now.
Yeah,
Like I thought I might have accidentally died if I did it incorrectly.
that is something that I think like I get why they might not have wanted to, but I wish they would have played with the title more and had more direct fail states where like you only have one shot and you accidentally mess something up and well, it's over. I can understand why you wouldn't want to do that for a video game that you pay money for, but they should have anyways.
But also, it might potentially help lead into like the second ending playthrough if you're already used to like resetting your progress. And considering how simple like the puzzles are, if you do just like, go and do stuff already, like that you've already known before, it would probably take you like half an hour
Yeah.
tops to like get from like the beginning to like the final area, you know?
Well, alrighty, as we move along, we go to the Glen, which is very swampy and falling apart into the swamp. And to me, the standout moment here, well, actually, there are a couple standout moments here. The two big ones being when you meet I forget their names because it's Calamus and who's the sister?
Alula.
Alula. Their names are very strange. I forget them constantly, but I really like them as characters. I really liked the bit where you have to find Alula, and then she's like super adorable. Her sprites are super cute. She's the like happiest character in the entire game. She has no idea what's going on.
Everyone else got that Dark Souls laugh disease of like,
Yeah.
you're ruined and you don't even know it.
She's the only one that doesn't know what game she's in. Uh, and
Very
and then
childlike wonder.
yeah. And the other standout bit for me was the bit where you find Maze, the forest guardian, and she's like, "Hey, I'm dying. I'm sorry for all these thorns in the way, but I'm just trying to hold the town together and protect everybody. Can I feel the warmth of the sun one last time?" And you have the
Yeah.
option to
I
give
was
her the
upset that was
sun.
not a choice, like a real choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
You
is
need
that
to
was.
like
see
is
the
that like an
completely
actual
area.
choice?
No, it's not.
No,
Okay,
You
happy.
can't
it's the
you
only
can't
way to
progress
continue.
if
Yeah.
you don't give her the sun, which I definitely get because I was a little suspicious because I was like,
I was sus, yeah.
not to I don't want to judge, but forest imp thorn creatures have never done me right in video games.
True.
So I was a little hesitant, but I went ahead and did it anyways, and that was the way to progress. It's a very linear game, surprisingly, when you like look at it. It's very much just a symbol, a cycle of things to do to progress, and then you move on to the next area, rinse and repeat. Uh, and you can like
Can you
find just a
please run on the
list.
tracks? Thank you. Thank you. You're hurting me. You're
uh,
running one pixel off of the tracks.
Oh, okay, yep.
because the walkthrough I found was basically just in order of a list of like do this, do this, do this. Okay, you're done. Um, when I wanted to make sure I was like doing everything that I could. Uh, there is a couple optional parts in the Glen though, like you can trade various things that aren't just to get the ink to the trader. I don't know if anybody did that.
Yeah, there's an achievement for
I don't think
trying
I
to get
did.
everything, trade everything.
Yeah, there is an achievement for if you try to trade literally everything in your inventory, uh, you'll get an
Including the
achievement.
thing that you just traded for.
Yeah.
I thought, man, can't remember if I got that, but I got maybe close.
And
The,
then
the spirit guardian thing, like I mean, it was a linear thing, but I did like when you come back, like that Nico did react. Like I liked how they handled it inevitably
yeah.
because like I walked in and I was like, please be glowing, please be glowing, please be glowing. God damn it! And then I got like worried that I messed up the entire like game, but
Mm.
no, they got me. They got me. I gotta hand it to them. They got me good.
Uh, And there's also the sheep pushing minigame, and I just want to give a special shout out of hatred to the sheep that's spinning and makes the weird noise. I hate that sheep. I wanted
Stuck
him to
Why?
die. I didn't like
Definitely stuck with me. He's good.
him. He's not good. He's evil. I think I've heard that noise in other RPG Maker games for like generic monsters, so I think it's just a stock RPG Maker noise, and that's like a very funny use of that. Is to just give it to him randomly. And aside from that, as you progress, you just have to get an ink or a pen and ink so that you can write your name on the list, so the robot will let you in. And if nobody has any other thoughts about the Glen, we can
I
move
really
past.
liked the plant spirit,
I really liked her too.
despite not being able to not being around very long or make a big discussion.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
it's one of the characters. It's one of the few characters that
sticks.
is like directly influenced by the end of the world specifically, and like the death of the world. Like you really feel it through her specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And then
All right, I'm trying to
after-
see if I can just stumble into like the second ending thing, but I'm not finding
You're
where
already on track for it.
yeah, I'm just
you're
not
kinda
finding
not
where
doing-
like the
you're just not paying attention to what you were doing, because you do it in this room. Like,
yeah, I
there's a-
know. I just don't know where that freaking thing is unless I can
where what thing is.
where like
This
that
this was one of the 2 times that I had to look it up.
It
where
is a
like
good
the
puzzle. It's a real
trolley
puzzle. You
is.
just have to. I think you just gotta think a little bit.
I accidentally stumbled on the solution to this one, but I can give you a hint if you want, Tony.
Yeah, give me a hint.
There's one spot that is different from everywhere else for you to stand.
Hmm?
Da 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 da.
Oh.
It's
Got it.
because
Yeah, I'm
it is
stupid.
what you are standing on a clover, which you can examine, by the way.
Now I think if you get in that minecart, I think you are more or less locked in.
Got it.
But yeah, the next area, what do they call it? The like upper
The
part of
tower.
the city.
No, not the tower.
City,
I
outer
don't
tower.
remember what
I
they
don't know.
call the city exactly.
I think they're just called the city.
Well, there's the third area that's like the upper part, and then the fourth area is like the lower.
Well, I don't
part.
think they distinguish really.
I thought they did.
Well,
I
It
mean,
was by this point in the game that honestly, I was
Refuge.
kind of like
Refuge.
running out of steam a little bit, and I started to kind of like rush it a little bit, because it was like it turned out to be a longer game than I had thought, especially with there being 4 areas, not 3. But I like the lower part of that, I don't know, the ground level, I guess we can call it.
yeah.
I enjoyed that, but I got lost a little bit wandering around it. It's not like too big or anything. I don't know if you guys got lost, but just temporarily,
I didn't
it
really
was a
get
bit much
lost,
for me.
no.
I really liked how the city looked, especially in the like
Yes.
bits where
Yeah.
you can look over the whole city on like the balcony and walkways. And I thought like the sprite work there was really pretty. I really liked the cafe bit. There's something I love cafes in games. I don't know why. Ever since I was a kid, like Animal Crossing Wild World, I guess, with the Roost made me realize just how chill and cool cafes are. So anytime a game gives me the opportunity to just sit and talk to somebody in a cafe or bar, I really enjoy. And then I really liked how towards the end of the game, right before you go to the tower, you can go back to that same cafe, and that guy can make you pancakes. I thought that was a really sweet, cool detail. But the main thing you're doing when you first get there is trying to get the elevator going. And I forget what the. I know you have to get the magnets and like tape them
Yeah, you have to get a
together.
couple different. You have to get a couple different things to like make a button, a magnetic button
Yeah.
to fix the elevator to
And this
replace.
is where you go through the apartments, right? Where you can go through like all the
Yeah.
apartments, where the best and worst Easter eggs in the game happen. The best one being the Roomba that you can activate and ride on for no reason. And when you do, you get an achievement that's just called Neum. Uh,
Yeah, I think this top part was definitely the weak part of the game for me, since I don't remember any points in that upper part of the tower, to be completely honest. I don't have
I
any.
remember a decent part, but I think it is like overshadowed by the Glen and what comes after the top part. I do also just want to say that this is where you can first encounter the penguin, the Hello Penguin. I hate him. Did we all
What
see the
happened
Hello
when you
Penguin?
talked to him?
If you walk up to just a random penguin, Nico will say, "It's a penguin. Hello, Mr. Penguin." And the penguin, in a weird voice that you never hear at all in the rest of the game, just goes, "Hello." And Nico just like
It's deeper
stares
than
in
that.
fear. Hello.
It's like
And
super
then
deep.
if you talk to it again, he goes, "Hello?" question mark. There's a is it if you
And then
name
you talk to
yourself
it again, and Nico just
penguin?
goes dot dot dot, and is like, I don't want to talk to this thing anymore.
Uh, if you is it if you name yourself like Hello Penguin or something or Penguin at the start, um, then like you get transported into like a fantasy realm with a giant penguin where it'll
No.
like melt
I don't
depending
think
on like
that has anything to do with your name. That's at the if you are playing through the game a third time, like in the memory version, and you get to
okay.
the room where you have to put everybody into the folders. Instead of teleporting you to the world machine, that bit will teleport you to the what is called the Hello Penguin room, where there is a giant version of that penguin who says hello, and it makes your entire window shake. Uh, and it like looks completely different from the rest of the game, and the only thing there is the penguin. And I found out it's all a big reference to a series of like meme itch.io games that the creator made in college. Uh,
Oh,
that
cool.
stars like that stars the penguin. And I think they're like the games are called Hello Penguin 1, 2, and 3. And it's just a weird, bizarre thing. And when you leave, Nico just stares at stares at you for a second, and he's like, "All right, let's never talk about that again." And then he just leaves. Um, I hate that penguin. I hate that penguin a lot, and I wish it was dead. Uh,
That's harsh.
well, he shouldn't be there. By the way, Tony, this puzzle, I knew immediately what I had to do, and it was the only puzzle in the game I just looked up because I didn't want to do it.
Oh, because I have to go back and forth to like the main part of the city, don't I?
You have to go through all of the different dorms
The
and figure
dorms.
out which is in which room.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not doing
the
that.
dorms. Part of the
How
dorms.
about we do
Well,
like
I
Billy
do,
Mitchell would have
but
done and cheat?
Let's
Uh,
do it. Yeah.
so I did the same thing that me and Matt was streaming it last night, and I did the exact same thing for him, where he got to this room and he was like, "Oh, I don't want to do this," and I just sent him the solution.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
so the
fuck
first
that.
one is, oh come on, why don't you load?
Well, I gave it one fair shot for this before giving up and looking it up because I kind of remembered what was there. But even when I
Uh-huh.
went back and looked at it and tried to do it for real, like my answer was incorrect. And then I looked it up
Oh,
and then I was like, yeah, I still don't understand how that's really the answer because the answer, you don't have to make each one of them a symbol. Only a couple of them are marked and then the rest are
Mhm.
blank.
well,
And
yeah,
it's not
because some of the
super
buildings have
obvious.
nothing in them.
yeah, it's
Yeah, no, but like some of them, I would argue, would also be the dormitory because that is where the robots would be given like how it was like decorated and like looked and stuff and like with
Yeah,
no,
it's not the clearest thing, but it's
it's
not. It's saying what is in there, not
like currently.
what it's meant for.
that makes it that makes it even a worse puzzle. Like because it's like what they're like listed as the buildings themselves. Like that should be the thing, not like what's in them.
Tony, 1 is robot. 2 is empty, so don't do anything. 3 is medical cross.
Do you mean like left to right, top to bottom,
Left to right.
or just
So
like
1, 1,
okay,
2 is medical cross. 4 is robot. 5 is empty. And then 6 is electricity. All
It's
right.
it's interesting hearing everyone talk about this because I don't know. I got so into the story of it and didn't care about like any other aspect too much. The puzzles are cool, but like I didn't. That wasn't the main thing driving me.
That's fair.
I just got really, really absorbed in the story like immediately.
I like the story
The
a lot.
moment it started, the moment it started doing the thing where it's specifically Nico, this kid is like talking to you and you're talking to him. I was immediately like, oh well.
I was into it the whole time, except
I need to get him out of here.
Because I had already made note of all the different dorms and what they were, because I thought it was going to be a puzzle, and it never was a thing. So I let it leave my mind, and then it asked me to do it here, and I was like, okay, I know what to do. I've kind of already done it. I really don't want to go through all of them just to
It
check.
takes so long to ride the minecart out as well, and it's on the opposite side of the map.
And
I mean, you can fast travel, but not inside.
Yeah,
so.
you can't fast travel in the mine, so you still have to ride the minecart back. I was just like, man, I don't feel like doing this. I just want to go. It's the only real puzzle like that takes this long too, which is very strange.
Especially in this playthrough, it's the only puzzle in this playthrough.
Yeah, pretty much.
I should have made it to where you could just look at the monitors.
Maybe
check.
they originally planned that, because if you talk to Silver,
Right.
the robot girl, she explicitly says there's an overhead view of the entire barrens on this monitor, and it was like I thought I could get her to move and look at the monitor so I didn't have to leave, and I just couldn't, and I was like, okay, maybe
Sure would have
they
been
were
nice.
maybe that just they didn't have time to add the sprites, or it couldn't work the way they wanted, but that whole bit was really strange to me. But then after you
No, Nico's getting upset.
no after you do go through the top part of the city, you go through the bottom part, and most of that is just getting a library card, so that you can get into the back of the library and talk to the whoever like the head librarian is.
So is he randomized actually, or is the game just like kind of like saying stuff? Is like his personality randomized?
I don't know. I was wondering that too.
What
Wait,
die did
who?
you guys get? I got 6, and
Oh.
he kept saying "bruh" a lot. And, like,
Okay, that is completely randomized then.
Yeah, no, his
Okay.
personality is randomized.
Sick, that's
yes.
so cool.
It is
That's
very
so cool.
I thought the same
I know
thing.
this.
What
I
did
know
I
this
get?
because I accidentally did a second normal playthrough. So I played the game like 3 times.
Oh, geez.
What?
Yeah, I just didn't get the initial thing to like lock it in. So I wound up playing it 3 times, and the two normal runs I did, I got completely different personalities.
What'd you get?
I don't remember what the number was for the first one. They came across like a very nice lady.
Okay.
And then I think I got 6 for the second one that you were talking
Yeah,
about.
6
Luke.
is awesome. I like that.
Where they just are like talking like funky student or some shit.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's like playing it on Funkotron NPC.
I got I forget the number of mine, but the thing like I read it in Carrara from 100 Line. I read it in her voice because it was like the exact same personality. Like it was super boastful, and how I'm the perfect specimen. I'm an amazing host. I am the smartest person in the world. And I thought that was very funny. But then, I don't know if it changed in the Solstice playthrough, but when I saw her in the Solstice playthrough, she was like really timid and didn't talk unless spoken to, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, no, my first playthrough, they were like really like almost mommy a little bit. Like just just here, sweetie, you look tired. Go rest upstairs,
I
like that
gotta
type of thing.
replay this game now.
6 was like really refreshing for the character dialogue. Like it was probably my favorite character to talk to in the game because it just felt like very original. Especially the game's vibe is like it's all pointed towards a specific melancholy type thing, but I actually that I almost feel like that kind of depressing atmosphere hits harder when it is not 100% going for that. I mean, you have a little bit of like levity here and there with like a little bit of comedy points and like the two like bird characters in the Glen. Um, like
Mhm.
the younger sister's not like that drab, but when I met the dice guy, that was a really nice breath of fresh air. And my favorite line from him was like he's telling you to like go take a rest in a bed while he like translates, and he's like using like heavy slang. So he's like, "Go knock yourself out over in there," and then you're like, "What?" And he's like, "Go take a chill pill," and you're like, "What?" And he's like, "Go rest for shizzle," and you're like, "What?" And he's like, there's a bed over there. Just go sleep. Because Nico does not understand anything he's saying.
Yeah, Nico's just confused at 6 the whole time.
Yeah.
uh, oh, I was meaning to ask because it's the only other puzzle that I had to look up in the whole game. Was there a hint or something guiding you towards uh, what like glass tubes to put in what to take the photo?
Yeah, it's how it actually works in real life. And then not only that, but if you go and talk to the
Yeah,
people
the vendors.
outside after you have like all of like the stand runners, after you've talked to the person directly outside once you have the lenses, they will then give you
Yeah, the
hints and talk
directions.
about how you should
Yeah, like
install it.
Okay.
Yeah,
you have to
the guy
you have to have progressed to a point where like the library photo is the last thing you need, and like you have to talk to, yeah, I guess that guy outside at that point.
I
he will
And then
straight up
after you talk
say
to
that
him, you talk to all the other standees, and they will give you hints
well,
individually.
he straight up says yeah, once Nico is aware that he actually needs the photo, when you talk to him, he gives the lore that the 4 people who are like the street vendors used to work for the photo thing, and
okay.
that's why they would have the knowledge. And then
I
Nico
I
talks.
I did not talk to them after that point. I had already talked to all of them, so I didn't think their dialogue changed. And I just was like, I was trying to brute force it, because I've not worked like a camera like that in real life, so I didn't know there was nothing intuitive about it, so I just had to look it up. Uh, but apparently, I found out that you can take many different photos until straight up the camera runs out of film. And every photo is one that you can use, except there is one randomly where Nico blinks, and he's like, "I don't. Let's not use that one."
Like you get
That's
to choose
adorable.
which one you use.
I think so. I think you get a different item for
Oh,
every
cool.
photo that prints out. I think you might like have to throw away the other one so it doesn't clog up your inventory. But I didn't get it. I just read that it was an Easter egg afterwards, and it's one of the achievements. Um, and so once you have the library card with your photo and everything, you can move on to the tower. And is there anything else like leading up to the tower that stood out to you guys?
We already talked about the giant like clock room that didn't get used.
No, nobody mentioned that.
Oh, well, that's gonna be. We'll talk about that for the second playthrough.
Yeah. I
It's
just
so it,
when I first played it, I like remembered the room,
Yeah.
but I just did not because I wasn't used to 2014. I wasn't used to games being like so combative in
Mm-hmm.
their design because I like Undertale hadn't come out
well,
and
I'm
I mean,
I
also
hadn't played
because
any
like you would
RPG
have had
Maker
the
games.
the
So
countdown if you had played it at release, right? So that
yeah,
would have
yeah.
been more like,
Yeah, because the update came later.
yeah.
What?
So it wouldn't have
S-
been so esoteric, I guess.
It wasn't.
Yeah, the update wasn't initially that. Like the solstice
Yeah,
thing,
that's what that room's
that
for.
was added in like 2016, I think.
Okay.
So
Well,
So
it was
that's why
added
you
6
didn't know
months.
about it when you first played it.
that makes much more sense because I
It was
didn't know.
the story directly references it because they're like, oh, the author pushed out like
A patch,
An
an
update.
basically.
update. Yeah.
Yeah, and it well also I believe it was exactly 6 months after the game released on Steam specifically.
Yeah,
And
it was like an intend it
so there
the
was a
way I was reading it,
countdown.
it sounded like an intended like countdown to it
Yeah, and
experience
so
that they did.
you would play through the game and see the clock counting down in real time,
Maybe not
which
intended
would have been
for
very cool.
maybe not intended for the original non-Steam version, but
No,
the
no,
Steam
that was
version
never
it,
the plan. It was
right, but for
specifically
the
just
Steam
for the
version it seemed
yeah.
intended.
So
Matt,
that would have been a really cool experience.
if
Yeah.
if you can remember when you first played it, was that Fox character behind the tree? Were they there at all in your initial playthrough?
I have no recollection of it.
Okay.
They were for me.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I know you see them in your first
Oh,
playthrough.
you mean like
I mean
The
before
before
the
original.
like
game was
original.
Before the
updated.
update.
Right.
I
Sorry.
I think I would have known because there would have been more fan art of it.
Okay. Uh, so I'm going to assume that they weren't there and were added for the first playthrough in that update, which is a cool little like new addition to get you interested in the update because you see the fox and they disappear behind the tree and they are just never brought up again until the second
Mhm.
playthrough, which I thought was
Yeah.
really neat. And it
Yeah,
straight up
it's a
says
really
like come
cool
back here
concept.
next time you're here. Uh, and you never like go back to that area for any other reason except for in the second playthrough.
Yeah,
So
I really like the idea of updating the game 6 months later to like finish off um like a story, but it can only work in very specific situations such as OneShot, where like it it can be debated whether or not the lore is like left up to interpretation. You know, like Undertale did a similar thing, except without like a different ending, but it did that kind of concept I always find really interesting.
yeah.
But it only works when like in OneShot. Well, even with the true ending with the update, OneShot doesn't necessarily have super clear lore. Um, I might just not have followed it completely, or like I need to read more about it. But that's like I left feeling the game being like, okay, I'm still unclear on like what some of these things are, what they mean. It was kind of rushed through, but that's specifically why I think if I was in the community, like or like when that dropped, I would have been like hyped and not shut up about like the countdown.
Hmm.
That's sick.
Mhm.
And then finally, you get to the tower, and when you step inside, there's just a big red X on the ground. Uh, and did anybody go into the tower before they were supposed to?
I did.
I think
I
I
did.
know. I know the exact moment you did, Tony, because I saw the Steam notification for you playing One Shot open like 4 different times, and I was really curious what was happening. And then I also got there, and I thought you could do it before you were supposed to, so I did that as well. I was offline, but I also exited and reopened the game, and it didn't do anything. And that's when I was like, oh, this is exactly what Tony did, isn't it?
No, that's actually I closed and reopened it like at the actual point in time. I went and I saw that and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting," and then
Oh,
I
okay,
left.
okay.
Yeah, I tried to do it immediately. Like I was trying to get ahead of the curve on a lot of the meta puzzles because I felt like they were like a little easy for what I wanted. So I was like, "Ooh, this is the one where I can like get ahead of." And but no, you needed
Yeah,
to hold
the
items.
3 items. Because then when you have those, after you talk to the librarian, you get the last one, and the other two are ones that you already had. And then it just says that the player will know what to do, uh, and that's where you just close the game. And I really liked the detail that this is the only instance where when you close it, it doesn't like quickly close out the window. It like fades, which don't think I'd
Oh.
ever seen a program do, and I really liked that detail where it will just slowly close instead of just exiting quickly.
A lot of visual novels will do that or something similar.
Yeah,
Um,
that is
well,
true.
those like dating simulators in Japan, they'll like when you exit, it doesn't immediately close out. They'll like say like the like titular girl will say like a goodbye message or like hey see you next time, and then it'll like slowly fade out.
Hmm.
Which I think is always neat because you can
Yeah.
always Alt F4 or like mash through the X button, and then I think it'll force it. But I think more games should do that. That'd be fun.
And then upon waking up, you is that when you're just in the room with the computer, uh,
Yeah.
and Nico has to go to sleep, and you don't
Yep.
even have the choice of what you do with the light bulb, uh,
Yeah.
until you. That's when you go to sleep, and the game, if you try to open it up, it just opens back to him asleep in the bed, and it won't do anything, and then it will just force close itself. The way you solve that puzzle is you have to go into the documents and find clover.exe. And it just I found that at the very beginning of the game. Like I just saw in the documents that there was a clover.exe that was separate from oneshot.exe. And I opened it up, and all it was just a black page with a clover on it. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be for something. And then I got to that point, and I got really excited because I was like, oh, I know what to do. And I opened the clover with it, and that's where you get the dream, and you get to wake Nico up, and you go through the ending state.
Does the game hint you to open that up? I forget.
Yeah,
Um,
it does. It changes your background again to
Right.
tell you
Yeah.
yeah,
about
Yeah.
yeah,
the
yeah,
Yeah.
event.
yeah. It straight up says the story's not done. You look for something that will help guide your way or whatever. And
What happens
that's
if you're using like wallpaper engine or something? Does it override
I don't
that?
know. I know I have a slideshow function
I have a
for
slideshow and it overrode it
mine.
multiple
It
times.
overrode
Okay.
it. I don't know if this happened to you, but it did not change it back. It didn't
Yep.
fix itself. So
Yep.
every time it changed my wallpaper, I had to manually change it back, which I thought
Same.
was very funny. I don't know. It sounded like that didn't happen if you didn't have a slideshow. Um, so that was just a quirk of Windows, I suppose. But that was really like funny to me. That if I didn't change it back, I would have just been stuck with this puzzle hint forever.
The transparent clover.exe thing was pretty cool. Unfortunately, that there I guess there's no way to like overlay it while also playing the underlying application because that meant you couldn't actually like view it through that lens.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm sure if there was a way, they would have figured it out. But
I want to say if you play World Machine Edition, it lets you do that. But
sure,
the way
but
World Machine
yeah,
Edition works, it's basically like you're playing the fake desktop inside the game, so they can
yeah, that's
do
lame.
whatever they want. Uh, and then you have the choice with Nico at the top of the tower to place the light bulb or break it. And I want to go around and ask, which one did everybody do? Starting with you, Tony.
I broke the world. I
Why?
think especially with that world, it was like literally everyone was like, "This world's got like 6 months left, pops." Like it is like a dead and decaying world more than like
But
ours
Nico,
is to even some
he eats so
degree.
many pancakes, he's gonna be knocked out in like 6 months, my guy. He's
Yeah,
not making it.
but I was like, I think like Nico deserves more of a shot to live than this dying world does. So I felt like it was more fair for me to give Nico a chance to live and do something with his life than a world that had again 6 months tops.
I my first run, I also did save Nico, but I felt really bad about it.
It's not a very
As you
good
should.
field choice. There's not really a right
Yeah,
answer.
it's not a great feeling, but I was also just again like as soon as I made a decision, I was like, yeah, I'm sticking with it. I believe. I believe I did the right thing.
What did you pick, Luke?
Um, given my experience with video games, I chose to save the world because that one would be the stereotypical good and better ending slash give a shot at like a true ending epilogue sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that would
Hmm.
stereotypically be the thing where like, oh, okay, since you did the good boy option, now we're gonna have a chance to save Nico. Blah blah blah. You know, so that in situations like this where like I want to make sure I see the whole story, usually I do that. But also, yeah, I was like, given like the lore, I believe that like there's something going on in the background where Nika will still manage a way to get out, and they'll like fix the world somehow with the energy, with like science development, blah blah blah. So yeah, I just saved Nico,
No,
or not saved Nico, saved the world.
that was basically my logic as well. And then Matt, did you pick the same option both times to save the world, unlike both your playthroughs?
Yeah, I couldn't. I like previously. I thought like saved Nico, but I don't recall. But when I looked up both endings, I was like, this doesn't look as familiar to me. So I guess, like Luke, I chose to save the world. Well, give give it one last hurrah,
Yeah,
at
give the
least.
sun back. That's what I did for the same logic that Luke talked about. What happens if you decide to break the bulb?
Nico just walks off the screen.
Like
Okay.
Yeah,
immediately.
he does
Off.
leave.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
leaves the window.
yeah.
Does it take you back to the bedroom?
I don't think
No,
When
so.
you reload.
no. The screen just goes black, and then he walks like off the screen, like outside of the window.
Okay. And then
What
when
happens when
you
you reload?
If you try to open it again, I think it shows just the broken bulb with nothing else.
okay, interesting.
But I could be misremembering that.
Oh,
Uh,
what a bad dream.
if you choose to save the world, Nico will kind of like just fade away, and then when you open the game back up, it'll show the starting bedroom with nothing in it, and then it'll play music for a little bit before it closes. Um,
So it's maybe even implying that like Nico did get out, or possibly. Like
maybe,
that was my interpretation.
It possibly. I feel like it's deliberately ambiguous what happened to him.
yeah.
He didn't. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty clear he didn't leave because he doesn't leave your screen.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah, but like
so like he's
to like
still
a
in
first
the
playthrough,
world,
you wouldn't have like known that like he didn't leave the
possibly.
screen.
Mhm.
So it's like for
Sure,
the type of
yeah.
ending it is like not that sad. Is kind of what my point I'm trying to get across. Like I didn't feel sad picking that ending.
But then,
Also, that's kind of dooming Nico. Like Anthony does have kind of a point.
the game does tell you that like the world will end, no questions about it, and
Nico's happy about it
he
though.
will be the sacrifice. Well, Nico's hasn't
He doesn't
had a
deserve that
developed
though.
brain. Um,
But Nico's a sacrifice, like he's dying. When
they describe him
Because
as
the
a
world is ending
sacrifice.
soon. He's a child. He still has a whole
no,
life ahead of
that's
him.
not what I'm asking about. Like if they specific like I think Michael's saying something different. So, Michael, you're saying they implied that, like, in the tower, when he puts it in, Nika will disappear.
They say that the child will bear this sacrifice as if like putting in
Oh,
will either
I
kill
interpret
him
that as just,
or
like he just has to live here. I didn't interpret that.
He's tied
to
to
mean,
the
like,
world.
the thing to me is that I got the feeling that he was never going to be able to leave the tower. Like I assumed that at the very least he was never allowed
No,
to
no,
leave that
he could
area.
leave the tower.
I don't know.
He's not the light.
He's not, but
He's-
the game does imply that he has to be near it for it to light in the first place. Because when he gives it to Maze and walks
the
away,
lore,
is when the light
the
goes
lore
out.
in general is so vague.
I mean,
So,
that's just how you want to interpret it. That's fine.
Either
Just like
way,
music,
though,
you know.
everybody's wrong.
Just because it's ambiguous doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was bad.
Yeah, I know, but I just meant in general.
Um,
I don't think anyone think it's bad because it's vague.
Either way, though, we're all wrong because if you delete your save file and go back for one more journey, uh, Nico remembers your name, and you have to physically go into your documents and delete the quote unquote save file, uh, which I sort of had spoiled for me in a really weird roundabout way, because it wasn't like I didn't understand it until the moment where I had to do it. But I was trying to look up how to delete my save file because I had started the game way back in 2020, and it's the type of game that never lets you hit new game or anything because there's so much that it needs to keep track of with your save individually. That even through Steam Cloud, it will keep all of your data. So when I started the game to start at 4 Game Club, it started on the same save I had from 5 years ago, where Nico like gets out of bed and he's just in that first bed, so I wasn't very far. He gets out of bed and is like, "I feel like I've been asleep for a really long time, and I had a weird dream. Are you still there?" And I was like, okay, how can I fix this? So I looked up how to delete one-shot save data, and it was saying like go into your documents and go into the folder, and I was looking for it and it just wasn't there, and I was so confused. And I tried to figure out how to delete it from Steam Cloud, and that was like a weird, complicated process. So I ultimately just ended up playing the World Machine Edition to get to where I was, and then played the rest of the game through the regular version. But because I looked up how to delete it, I realized like, oh, people weren't asking that to like erase their actual progress. They were just trying to figure out how to start the Solstice playthrough. So I was able to intuit that very quickly of, okay, delete that file to start the second playthrough. And then when you do, you have the opportunity to look at the computer and you have to put in a password where it gives you the 4 different images with like that are the notes, and it has the secret code in it. And that's the word solstice, which I remember they brought up the word solstice before. I forget the context, but I remember they like brought some importance to the word solstice in the first playthrough. Does anyone remember what the context for that
I don't
was?
remember.
I don't remember that really.
Okay. I remember
I know
making note of
they
it
said
to when they when it was the password. I was like, okay, that's a cool callback, but I couldn't remember exactly why.
I know I did notice weirdly early on that the Steam store page has that hidden in it.
Has what, like the word solstice?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, what do you mean?
Like if you go to the Steam store page for OneShot, then there are
So like
certain
in the
letters like,
description?
yeah, in the description, like certain letters bolded and stuff.
Nothing's bolded for me in the description. Oh wait, read more. No, I'm not sure.
I will screenshot it.
I don't see anything bolded.
That is what I see.
Where is?
Oh yeah, I see. It's not even
Oh,
bolded. It's
okay.
like
Oh, it
weird.
doesn't stand out. Okay, it doesn't stand out that much to my eye. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
That is cool. After that, you get a little bit of different dialogue, but the true playthrough doesn't start until you go to the mines and you have to stand on the clover, which I accidentally did because I saw that Nico like I walked over it and Nico noted it's a clover, so then and I already had to ask Danny, like, because I probably would have accidentally played through the game a second time, because I wasn't sure when the branch was supposed to start. I had to ask Danny, like, how far do I have to get, essentially, and do I have to leave the Barrens? And she told me no, which made me realize, okay, there's something here I gotta do. And then I accidentally just walked over the clover when Nico brought it up, and I was like, well, that seems important. And then I looked at the journal, and it solved the puzzle. So I accidentally did it. I don't know if anyone else. I know Danny had a hard time with that one in particular, but I don't know if anyone else had trouble with that one at
It was
all.
a little bit, uh, but like I thought it was like a nice puzzle. Like it took me, I had to exit and then come back to figure it out.
I exited and I got really scared because Silver leaves. I was like, oh god, have I like locked myself out of the playthrough? So I did not exit out of the game normally. I went into Task Manager and closed it, and that did like take me back to my last like this bed that I slept at, and I hadn't gone to the mines yet, and I was really
Oh,
happy that I could
interesting.
do that. So if anyone wants to know,
Huh.
if you don't want to like save your progress in one shot, you
Hmm.
can exit through Task Manager. So that's a pro gamer tip
Not
for anybody.
not consistently auto saving. Interesting.
Yeah, it seems like it only saves when you like close the game through either the bed or it closing automatically, or if you manually do it. But if it like crashes or closes by other means, it seems like it does not save. So there's probably some cool stuff you could do with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, I didn't know about the Solstice playthrough being an update until like after I'd beaten the game and like read the Wikipedia and like stuff about it. It would have made the story and the lore definitely make more sense if I was aware of that. Because it, like, I mean, I followed it, but like the all the talk about like the creator and like pushing an update, and like I thought the creator was going to be a character in universe that we would eventually meet somehow. Or like the update, I was like, when, okay, so was the update like in real time, like just now, or like um but like, if you're aware that the playthrough exists, that kind of ruins the first playthrough almost. So it's like a catch 22.
I got the feeling that at the very least, like I'd known that there was the initial version, and I assumed that whatever the second playthrough was an addition. Uh, I never felt too confused about that aspect.
What about it being an update?
Yeah, like the way they
Like
talked
being
about it, I
being
figured that this was an addition to the initial game. I wasn't sure like exactly when it was added
I
or
I
how
didn't assume
long.
that. I had assumed it had just like always been that case. Maybe not in like the original free release, but
The when you get by the time you get to move on though, and you talk to the Prophet Bot, um, about like how the world is basically the world is a video game, and Nico is the only living thing. I noticed early on and really liked the continuous theme of like this playthrough being so much worse for everybody. Like everybody dies more or less throughout the entire game. As you go, like everyone Nico talks to gets eaten by squares, or like the cave collapses on Silver. And I thought that was like I really liked the aspect of you assume you're going for a better ending, but to get there, you have to go through way worse stuff. Uh, and I thought that added to it a lot and added to the satisfaction of when you're done with it. It made it really, it made the feeling really nice.
I'm gonna say we have enough footage for what we have there and stop streaming at this
Alrighty.
point. But
Uh, and then you just kind of keep going until you get like the true ending, which you guys have any thoughts about the stuff with the world machine or any of the final
tons.
puzzles?
I'm gonna say everything I feel about the true ending,
Go for it.
and there it is.
Nice.
I
Thank.
I I can totally understand. I know there's a lot of people who like don't like that the true ending exists, and I can totally understand that because like it does undermine the entire original point of the game of like having to make the choice, and like the gimmick of the game being like you have the
Mhm.
one thing. It's
Yeah.
still very neat, um, but I can't. And like I enjoy what it does, um, especially with the gimmick of the game. But yeah, I can't
Yeah.
deny that it undermines like the entire gravity of the original like point of the game.
Yeah,
That was
especially
my
the
big
final choice.
resistance to going through and doing that second playthrough. It's like even if it fleshes out the world, I just felt like the ending point of make your choice of Nico or the dying world was like a really satisfying like original end point that continuing on just felt like wrong of like why are we here? Even if we flesh out the world, is that really worth going back and like taking away from that original satisfying ending? And I just didn't think that it was.
Matt, you
Mhm.
played the game without it and only just played through the second playthrough, like for this game club, and I'm curious
Mhm.
how specifically like the second playthrough, what that experience was like for you, having essentially come back to it, like I don't know what, almost 10 years later.
Yeah, since I didn't, because I'm pretty sure I bought it, and if I didn't buy it on release, I waited and waited, and then suddenly the World Machine existed, and I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't remember if I got upgraded or what. 'Cause, I just had what World Machine Edition. I didn't buy it. I don't remember buying it
Gotcha.
specifically, or unless I bought it like just for the game club this month. Because even though that was recent, I don't remember what I did. I don't know. But
What, having like new story after so long, how did that feel?
um, being a decade later, it felt very natural. Felt very because at like as I was playing through, I was like, did I just miss this stuff, or is it? I couldn't tell because it was just kind of seamless to me the way it was integrated,
Mm-hmm.
and the way it's also kind of like hidden. It's not very apparent. Like if nobody said anything about the ending, there being another route at all this month, I just wouldn't know it existed.
Oh, really?
if
I
the
think I probably would have inevitably found it out. I'm pretty sure. Um,
Yeah, like if I looked it up and like
no, I mean like I would have found it out without looking it up. I'm pretty sure. Like I would like the game is in such a way and has such a vibe that I would have kind of like, you know, maybe not assumed, but like in these types of games, like I've played enough of them that like I would be interested because it messes with your computer so much that like it
mhm,
would I was already assuming that like okay there might be something that would happen if I delete the save file because many games have like
mhm,
done that like like Undertale came out
right.
a year after, but Undertale also is not the only one to have done that.
That's true. That's true.
So I think I would
There's
found
a
it
lot of RPG
personally.
games and meta games, but yeah, I I was getting pretty emotional because it really felt like it felt like the game's apex emotional moment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to it anyway. And then finally like getting to the root of the issue or the problem or like what exactly is going on. It felt very seamless.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
for Tony's sake and anyone who didn't manage to get to the end of the second playthrough, what it
You
culminates
can talk
in
about it. Yeah.
is you go through the tower again, um, or you go through the city again and find like the alternate path, with the help of the three characters you meet along the way, through the Solstice playthrough, and you eventually get to what is called the World Machine, which is the thing that the creator, the author, made to try and stop the end of the world. It is like a somewhat sentient AI who fully became sentient at a certain point. That was made to figure out how to stop it. And specifically, it is a simulation sort of the world. The exact like wordage was a little unclear to me, but it's essentially like a digital version of the world that he made to try to stop the real world from ending. That eventually grew to like end itself because of the code breaking down. And then
Is the
Nico,
real world dying? I forget.
I don't think Nico's
Pollution
world, like
or
the
like
real world on Nico's side, was dying. Uh,
Nah, just the
no, I
programming.
mean like the reason the creator made the program. Like what did they say was the reason for the
because
world?
the creator's world was dying, and I think
Yeah, but
they
how?
like that. It just sounded like it just was like it is just reaching the end.
I thought I remember them saying at least like a quick thing, like something quick to be like, oh yeah, no, I get that trope. Like I understand, but I could have sworn they like hinted at something.
I can't remember.
Like whether man made or not, it was like the main thing.
Was it the sun went out?
I don't know. I'm just gonna look this up. Like
Okay.
I'm
I
because
don't know if they said what it was. What is?
let me see because I felt like they said something.
But
It can keep talking.
either way, the reason the world machine was made was to solve that, and it realized that it needed like a savior and it needed a real person because um, there's an overlying theme with the game where like for something to become real or tamed, as they say it in the game, it needs to befriend and be believed in by a real person, which to me meant that like the way to save that world, it needed to be real, and the way it became real is if a real person or real thing believed in it, um, which is where Nico and then by extension the player comes in. Because the world machine is an exe essentially on the player's desktop, that was just there one day, and Nico got involved as like the avatar catalyst for all of it. Um, and the world machine was trying to kill itself because of the law of robotics, where you're not supposed to harm a living being, which is really
Yeah, I thought
cool.
that point was pretty cool and
Yeah,
original. I never like that's a very original idea.
the setup for that was really cool too. It's a really great bookend because very early on in the factory, you can see the laws of robotics and how it's not allowed to hurt a living being and stuff. And that's never really brought up for the rest of the game. And none of the robots are hostile, so you're really wondering
Hmm.
like what that had to do with anything. And you kind of just
Yeah, I
assume.
wonder if like the did you guys I wonder if this is like a red herring thing about the taming bit. Because when they explain taming, it's like kind of like I feel like a natural assumption to be like, oh, so like taming the robot means like they're not going to go crazy or hostile, or maybe it's a subversion where like taming means they will go hostile,
Hmm.
but like not even that, which I
I
thought was interesting.
I thought I wasn't sure. I sort of thought that from the beginning, but I think by the time I met Silver, because I think Silver says that she is tamed, and she's the robot you meet, or the earliest robot you meet with an actual like full-on personality. That's kind of when I was like, oh, taming just means like gaining sentience more or less. Uh, so when confronted by Nico specifically, the world machine begins to learn that it has become tamed without realizing it because of Nico's and everyone else's belief in that world. Uh, and Nico is able to stop it from finally crumbling. Um, and then the last kind of bit is walking through the credits physically with all the characters there, and you talk to each one. and say your goodbyes until Nico gets to go back to the starting house. Or it looks like the starting house, but the light's on, and Nico, I think says, I can't remember if he says it's specifically his house, but the door opens and Nico says he can see his mom, and like the wheat fields and everything. So that's what I kind of thought, is that it was like his house or his room. Um, and then that's when, for me, it was the first time I saw it since I chose the put in the light bulb. You say goodbye to Nico, and that's when I saw Nico walk off the window and walk through my taskbar, which was really cool.
Mhm.
And that's where the game ends. And if you boot it back up, it shows you the title screen with the same like start, etc. And if you hit start, it just shows you that the room, the empty room with the lights on. But there's one more option that's just dot dot dot, and if you click that, it just takes you directly to the world machine, and the world machine is like, hey, you know, this world does live on through you and Nico's memories, and you can never come back to it, but if you want, I can show you Nico's memories. And that's essentially how you replay the game, and I really like that.
That's an interesting way to do that, I think,
Yeah.
because I think more things need to have a message of like you need to let go, man.
Right.
I think that needs to be a societal message that needs to be drilled in over our head over the
Yeah,
next
no,
decade.
that's almost why I didn't want to boot it up, because I know about that, but I'm like, no, I saved him. He's gone.
Yeah.
He
I,
left my computer.
I like that there's I'm sure there's some way to go into like your Steam Cloud data and everything and just delete it like
Mhm.
completely to really replay the game, but I really like that if you really want to replay it, there's that option, but it's just memories. There's no way to get Nico back.
Isn't he like his sprite work is also like staticky, so it like is actually like in your face, like this is a memory.
I'm not
Like in the
I didn't
footage,
boot up the like
in
memory
footage that I
game.
saw,
Okay.
Yeah, I
like
didn't either. Like I said, I was so much like, no, I did
well,
my duty.
I'm just saying this because I saw footage of the penguin room, and then Nico was staticky during that footage, so I
I
just
see.
kind of
Okay.
assumed that like um yeah, maybe, and I think that's a nice touch.
Yeah, that
Um,
is really cool.
Personally, I think it would have hit harder. Like, maybe I'm like my the world inside my head is dark like the hamburger helper, but like I like when a game kind of like pushes the point of like you need to let go, man. Where like if you delete it, then like the game, like the like I'm gonna reference Undertale and Doki Doki again, but they're not the only ones to do this. But like they recognize even after you get the best possible endings, like if you like play it again, like in Undertale, they're like, hey, what's up, dude? I thought we were chill like
We're
that. What's
cool,
going
right?
on, my man? And then you can still do it, but it's like and I like that because it's like a more like punishing thing of just like
Yeah.
as opposed to like, oh, here's the memories, let's, because like at that point it's like the same thing. I feel like that sells the message more, but I think it's pretty unique. I haven't seen another game
Yeah.
do the memory thing like Anthony was mentioning.
It's a hard line to walk because I know as a video game developer, when you're putting out a product like that, you don't want to sell somebody something that's $20 that they can only play once. Because even if you're very clear about that, people will still get mad about it, and
Yeah,
it's
but for the Solstice playthrough, you have to know how to delete it. So I think it's more understandable to like in this situation to do something like what Undertale did.
you do, but that's not even like the real deletion process. Because like I'm sure on the World Machine version, you have to go into. Yeah, no, I saw Matt do it. You have to go into the
Yeah.
documents of the World Machine version. It's not like you have to actually like on your Switch or whatever go into your Switch files and delete it. Uh,
Mhm.
so I get why you wouldn't want that, even though I do think that they shouldn't allow you to play it. Like I think artistically it's cooler, if they don't allow you to do it, and if it is just gone forever. But I do understand as a game developer when you're putting out a product like you want to give the option because you don't want to just make it impossible to use this thing that you bought again. It's very unwinnable. So I
Yeah,
appreciate the compromise.
I yeah, again, but like just at least on the PC version, I'm not too aware of how it would work in the World Machine Edition. Like you physically to get the ending where you would have to do that anyways, you do have to go into the folders.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
delete. And I would also assume that like um if you delete the save in the same area, I just kind of assume that it might reset the game as well to the default state. I'm not sure about that though, but that was my assumption.
From what I could tell, because I tried to do it because I thought it was the actual save data. As far as I'm aware, the save data you delete in the documents is not the actual save data of the game. It is just a
Okay.
folder that is a check to like, have you beaten the game? Yes or no? Because when I was trying to
So
delete it, it wasn't there.
so if you go to
Mhm.
delete that save data, then it would still give you the like blank screen,
What do you mean?
or not blank screen. It would still give you the like say like you would not actually be able to like go back and do a normal playthrough afterwards.
Well, I'm saying
If you
that file that you delete wasn't ever there until you beat the game for the first time.
Oh really? Oh okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would still posit that like if you go into the documents period at all, then like that shows that you have like the drive and like at least knowledge to like delete it at all, which
I
would
agree
would
for the
like
most part.
yeah.
I just
I it's
understand
specifically
why.
the Souls playthrough.
Yeah,
Um, that like it makes me be like they could do it, but
they could. It's just it is a hard thing to do, and I think I appreciate the compromise versus like something like Detroit Become Human. If you remember how the robot on the title screen, how like the end of the game you can let her leave and get her freedom, but then people were mad about that, so they put on an update where you can just get a new one. Uh, I'm glad it's not something like that where it just completely undermines the message of the game. It is at least a compromise. But it sounds like that's about all we have to say about One Shot. Are there any other final thoughts?
Even though it was entirely coincidental, I really liked having a shorter game this month so that when I missed the first week of this month, we could have a shorter game for this
Yeah, it
month.
worked out really well.
I'm
Guess it
glad
just
that
depends on how quickly you play. Can read and
I'm
play.
glad I was forced to play this at
Yes.
gunpoint. I sorry I didn't tell the police. Don't worry about that. But anyways, um, yeah, the and it's also like a good warm up for Omori in October. And
Oh
personally,
yeah.
like I'm gonna be trying to play more of the indie JRPG horror slash just quirky games about depression. Haha, hee hee hoo hoo. I'm gonna kill myself for saying that. Um, I'm gonna try to
Haha, no,
play
don't kill
more of
yourself. You're
those.
so sexy.
Haha, hee hee hoo hoo.
JK, just do
Um,
it, fatty.
and One Shot was at the tail end of those. Like if we were to follow the pipeline, like going from like Aoni, Mad Father, Yume Nikki,
Hmm.
up to things that are less horror, such as like Off, then moving up into things like One Shot, and then Undertale, and then from there Omori. Um, it all kind of like it is like a very obvious like it's one of the most like obvious genres of like inspirations that you can track from like game to game, which
Yeah.
is very cool, and especially because they're all usually made by one person.
Yeah.
um like oh yeah, Lisa's thrown in there, and like a lot of them they release originally as free games, and then a decade later they release on
Hmm.
Steam or like as a paid version or like something, so the creators can actually come back and touch it up. And so One Shot being at the tail end of that, you can definitely see because it has the vibes and the gameplay of those older kinds of games, not so much the horror element, but then it really focuses in on the puzzles, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
So it was very, very refreshing. Like, beyond just being, story thing, like the puzzles really do make it like it makes it hold up in the modern days still, because there aren't many games that do these kinds of puzzles very well. Like I said, I wish there were more, but it's pretty hard to do them without being very in your face about it. So
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, Matt, do you have any closing thoughts on One Shot?
Nope, just glad I got to replay it. Some new
Yeah.
stuff.
Thanks for
Yeah.
'Cause, I really like new stuff too.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I overall I enjoyed it a whole lot. I'm very glad to have played it finally. But do you know what your next choices for your next game club is going to be?
I think Spiritfarer is definitely gonna be on there.
Okay.
Maybe
good one.
Cocoon again, but
Alrighty.
I haven't picked
Okay.
out anything quite
Honestly,
yet.
I would genuinely. I've been waiting for someone to just do the run back of just like we're doing the same ones as last time, except one
I'm
new
probably
one.
going.
I've been waiting for that genuinely.
If I can't think
We
of
all pick
anything that I
Bioshock
really
again.
want to get to,
Alrighty.
yeah,
Well, then once you get to that, let us know, and we'll be able to pick your next game. But with that, we are at the end of our first round of Game Club.
We completed it.
We
I'm
made
so
it
glad
through
that
a whole
we've made
year.
it through.
we
And we have like momentum. We're like,
Yeah.
we've got momentum and speed going.
This is
into
going.
it.
This has
8
gone very
months.
well. Yep,
Wait,
started in January. This was the last one. We're resetting to Miles next.
The first cycle's completed.
Oh,
Oh.
the cycle. I thought you were saying like a whole year, and I was like, what? We didn't start it.
No.
Okay.
Almost though.
Yeah.
We might as well. We're 7 months in. So we have gone through River City Girls, BioShock, Tunic, Freedom Planet, Astro Boy Omega Factor, No More Heroes, and One Shot. And that is all 7 of us. So next up, it resets with Miles with Sonic Rush for the Nintendo DS. And he is not here to talk about why he picked that. So I will put words in his mouth and say he picked it because it's the best Sonic game.
It's not Sonic Mania, so I don't believe that.
It's not
but-
Sonic. It is okay, but
Do you
irrefutably,
still believe that?
it is the best Sonic game on Nintendo DS.
There we go.
No, it is just a very good, well-made 2D Sonic game that has a lot of elements from the 3D games, and it brought in a lot of new things that the 3D games straight up stole. Like, it is the first Sonic game with boosts. It invented that the later games just stole. It also
did
has the trick system. And it's made by Dimps, who made Sonic Advance, and those games were also really well liked. And it's just a really
introduced
good.
the trick system is such a dishonest way to talk about that.
Listen,
That does such a disservice to Sonic Rush's
I know
trick system.
the tricks. It
Because
has the trick system,
in every other game with tricks, it's not a system.
and it's not good, unlike Sonic
It's a
Rush.
QTE.
But there's
So-
a trick system in Sonic Frontiers. It's
so
not
wait,
a QTE.
so you're saying Sonic Rush
Obviously.
is where it started the downfall of Sonic because it's just press X to win?
Okay, you can
You
deal
think
with
we can
Miles
take-
Anyway,
on that
rage
one.
bait aside,
It also has Blaze the Cat, who is genuinely one of the best Sonic characters that they've ever introduced post the original games.
And also immediately dropped the ball with in
Yup.
Sonic 06.
Immediately.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's so
It's
funny.
crazy.
Michael, did I tell you that I put Sonic 06 on my games that I'm gonna play next year list?
You should do
Oh,
that.
not for Game Club?
No, not for Game Club.
You're a coward?
Unfortunately,
You're a
it's too
coward.
long for Game Club.
Look,
Um,
I have some
Just do the Sonic
thoughts
Circle.
on some themes that I'm gonna do in the future, and maybe bad games will be one of them.
A whole theme for. Oh, I thought you meant for a whole year. A whole
No,
year
no,
of just
no, no.
bad games.
Year of Luigi.
So I will see everybody next month to talk about Sonic Rush. And that'll do it for July's Game Club. Thanks for listening,
Yeah,
everybody.
baby.
See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.